We go. I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. Today's whole stream topic was inspired by a line I heard yesterday that went something like, a mutant is someone who changes into something else. And by that definition, every single one of us human beings are mutants, right? Because we are actively changing into something else, moment to moment, day by day, year by year, from our childhood all the way to finding ourselves as adults right now. We change, we become something else. So, yeah, today's whole stream topic is about embracing being mutants, realizing that this act, this process of changing into something else is something that we've been doing our entire lives. Some people refuse to change, right? So maybe that's where the real concept is supposed to come in, right? That being a mutant is something you choose, not something that you're born as or something that you're given superpowers and then you become a mutant. As soon as you're willing to self evaluate, to be aware of the things that need to be changed, and you're willing to make those changes, you mutate. You become, you consciously evolve. I thank you, friends, for joining me. I see Joy Vive and Shan and Jovan and Natalie and Nancy as well. Blessings to all of you, friends. It's such a pleasure seeing you. I see Natalie echoing, drink water. Yes. Love, 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 love. Uh, help me mutate perfectly, right? Because you can have technically, like, I mean, cancer is a type of mutation, but also so is better digestion, so is, in my mind, the thing that I want right now is lower levels of myostatin. Low myostatin, please. Please. I want the lowest myostatin. Your friends are like, what's myostatin, Mel? Myostatin is this hormone that's produced by your body that basically downregulates the production of muscle. It's a evolutionary trait, technically, because if all of us were muscle bound monsters, technically we can't be that muscle bound. You can be as muscle bound as you can potentially be, but you can't go further than that. Technically, you won't be like steroids level muscle bound. I'm digressing. It basically tells your muscles to stop, right? You have like a growth happening, and then myostatin is like, bro, relax, stop doing that. And if all of us were muscle bound like that, we would need exponentially more food on the earth right now, right? So it's not possible right now, but I do want lower myostatin. So help me mutate. Glass of water. Bless, bless, bless. Being human is a strange experience. Yeah, because we're not human, right? We might be having the experience of being human, but the I, the we that we are, is not human technically, is awareness, pure awareness, experiencing through this filter of humanity. Being a body is quite surreal, right? Like, weirdly enough, as I'm looking at myself, I'm seeing, let me see if I can show you as well. Am I missing it? There you go, right? So I'm like, there's like light hairs and then there's one dark hair, right? So I wonder what happened to this one dark hair. What mutation did it take up, to be that little bit darker? Being a human. Yeah, nice. I see Dryastorian. Love it's to you. It's been a while, friend. We've missed you. It's nice seeing your name here with us. Early birds, love is true. Thank you, Joe, for sending the love into the world as well. Thanks, Natalie. This hydrate is a honor of you. Now posture check. Suddenly starts posturing. Blessings. Beautiful humans and mutants. Water with coffee in it is perfectly acceptable, y'all. It's a lie that coffee dehydrates you. Mm, I mean, technically, it's not, right? Caffeine does dehydrate you, but that's because it's a diuretic. In other words, if you drink caffeine and it makes you want to go to the bathroom, that will dehydrate you. The coffee itself doesn't dehydrate you. It's you releasing liquids out of your body that dehydrates you. And if you replace those liquids, you'll stay hydrated. So yes, and right, yes, technically it doesn't dehydrate you, but also actually if you don't, like for instance, if you drink 500 mils of coffee and then you go to the bathroom and then you don't drink anything for the rest of the day, you're gonna be dehydrated. But if you drink your coffee and then you drink a glass of water and then you eat an apple, like you get water through multiple things. Is that Coco? Hey Coco, it's nice seeing you too, dear friend. Sending you blessings. Okay, sending so much love to the folks in Johannesburg, all of you humans here right now to make this world a better place. Thank you, Brother Duck Dad. Yeah, fire. Something that has, in theory, changed our entire human trajectory and now is almost more seen as a destructive force as something that used to benefit us, right? Provide heat during the winter, provide surface to cook on. Fire is quite something, man. Love is true. Webbed feet are a mutation, technically true, right? But also, I believe so is, this might be a hot take, autism. Hey Google. Hey Google. Is autism a mutation? You're right. There are several conditions associated with autism that stem from mutations in a single gene, including the fragile X and Rett syndromes. But less than 1% of non-syndromic cases of autism stem from mutations in a single gene. Okay, so not a hot take. In fact, scientifically accurate. Yeah, there are a bunch of mutations that can happen to humanity. And I feel with the future we're embracing, there will only be more. We are going to choose to mutate ourselves. And now the only thing that we have to realize is that we've been doing that this whole time, right? Again, a mutant is someone or something that changes into something else. Gene expressions, changing into something else. Hey, Shell, sending you love and stew. Let's continue reading some chats. Making lasagna later today. I need to go shopping. So going into lurk mode. Love you, Nancy. We'll be sending you blessings, even if you're here in silence. If we had just stayed in the damn ocean where we belonged, we'd probably have them by now, Joy. Webbed feet? I don't know if I want webbed feet, right? Like, only for the fact that I think there is some sort of advantage to having separate toes, right? For the simple fact that I can do this and I can clean between my digits. I'm tripping out. Stop it. I don't want to think about hydrating through osmosis. Sending much love. Thank you again, brother like that. Hello, Zano. Blessings to you. Even Schwarzenegger had limits, and that with additional supplements. Exactly, right? Like reducing the amount of myostatin our bodies produce, I feel could be one of the, I mean, like in our animal studies, the creatures that we reduce myostatin levels with end up living 60% longer than the control group. However, and this is important to note, that is like from conception. So the actual organism was gene edited to not have myostatin in its body right from its conception. So I don't know if we'll get 60% increase in longevity, but we'll get some increase in longevity. And it only affects skeletal mass, right? So it doesn't affect your heart or your internal organs. It just affects skeletal mass, which is pretty sick, myostatin. Go and look it up. I look forward to being able to knock out my myostatin gene, kick that little dude in his teeth, Oh, we'll see what happens to me, right? Like I feel like that's the point of this state of reality as well. It's gonna be interesting to kind of like see how these mutations change our reality. I would make some this week. Cheers, dropping by to bring me some lasagna, Nachi. Hey everyone, is ready for the season change. I'm happy with this, and a happy one of that. Love to you, Coco. Blessings. Yeah, it's getting a little bit warmer here. It was like a cold for the last few days, but it's kind of more comfortable today, at least again. So I was totally like steroids level. Am I mutant because I'm down with that? I mean, I don't think so, right? I feel like again it's just a practicality thing. You know, hey Lolo, it's nice seeing your name here, friend. You've been missed. Blessings. Like for instance, for me, it's like a yoga thing, right? I don't want to be muscle bound. I don't want like all these balloons on top of my body. I don't want that, right? All I want is extreme strength, right? Like being able to do one hand, headstands kind of vibe. Like that's what I want. And being muscle bound makes that harder technically, right? Like the more muscle you have, the heavier you are. And I don't really want to weigh more than 88 kilograms. So that's like 8 kilograms on top of what I weigh right now. And if I lose all of my fat, that means I'll gain about 18 kilograms of muscle mass, which is a lot. That's like 40 pounds of muscle. Possible, possible. But I don't want to do more than that, right? I do not want to weigh 200 plus pounds. I don't think that's practical. Again, resources, the amount I'll have to eat to sustain that kind of mass, I don't think is really great. And then also the vehicles we'll have access to, right? EUCs being one of them. And we'll also have flying vehicles, like 100% before the end of this decade, commercially available kind of like hovercraft vehicles are going to be available powered by batteries 100%, right? And if the heavier you are, the less range you get on anything that uses batteries. So yeah, uh, I want to mutate just a little bit, a little bit of mutation. And I don't think that there's anything wrong if you want to be muscle bound, brother bear. Swing by and compare mine after. Love is true. Dirty, dirty historian. Dry has turned. How are you, blessing? Lurk mode now. The sooner I get this work done, the sooner I get a nap in. Yeah, Jovan hasn't slept. Blessings to you, you powerful being, you. I hope that you get your work done quick, so you can get some rest. Don't, Joe. Don't leave. Hold on. Yay! I'm going to send some spare energy to Joe. Please do. Imagine Joe just having like bursts of energy pushing through the tiredness. Some greyhound dogs have bred to have the mutation of no myostatin. Yeah, we do it with cows as well. We've done it with rat studies. It's a pretty cool gene, you know. Like, I mean, this is probably going to be a little bit of a yikes, but hey Google, can you show me animals without the myostatin gene? This greyhound, this greyhound looking like an absolute giga chad. Look at that greyhound. It's so jacked. It's like absurdly jacked. Hey, Bubdel. I don't think I've seen your name before, friend. Sending you blessings. It's nice having you here. It's so jacked. I want to see some other doggos. Maybe some other animals. These are mostly doggos. That's a shaved cow without the myostatin gene, right? And it's only skeletal mass, and they end up living longer, right? Because having like skeletal mass isn't actually a drawback. It does require more resources, right? That is the drawback. And from an evolutionary perspective, if we were all that jacked, hey dad, we would eat so much food that we would probably starve the rest of our communities, you know? So for the longest time, it wasn't practical to be that muscle bound, but in our future it might actually be, especially if we have, food growing containers inside of our homes eventually. Who knows? Again, this whole process, this whole thing we're going through is an active mutation of humanity right now. And mutation shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. That's the conscious evolution we're trying to go through today. Looking for a job and been dealing with some depression, but I will survive. Dry historian, I get it. Looking for a job comes with that energy, unfortunately, because it actively puts you in this state of expectation, disappointment, rejection, and imposter syndrome, right? It's like a trifecta of all of those experiences at the same time. I'm proud of you for pushing forward, for still trying. I believe you'll find a job. Hopefully, every job that denies you wasn't supposed to be for you, right? And the one that you will end up getting is going to be a perfect fit. Blessings to you, little Bobby Jane. I don't think I've seen that friend before, but it's nice having you here. I see Dan here as well, and Louisiana. Sending lovin's to all of you friends. Okay. Phew, love you all as we do you. Because I don't address her directly. I love you, Shan. Love is true. My daughter last night looking at said, my daughter last night looking at said she really wants to there in a rocket ship, but wants mom to go in with her with to keep her safe. She wants to my daughter wants to be in a rocket ship, but wants her mom to be with her. I said, that's totally fine. And my wife said, we're going to have to do without a family. I said, probably a nap. I feel like I'm lost. But I feel like I'm drawing some information from that. Yeah. I mean, I don't really, again, thinking about practicality. Rocket ships is great and all, right? It really is. This is probably going to be a stream topic, maybe for tomorrow. But I was thinking about this concept of abundance, right? Where for the longest time we've had people kind of like be obsessed with this idea of conquering, right? Like I'm gonna conquer the world, I wanna own the world. But realistically, even if you could eat as much as possible, and this is probably gonna be a yikes, but have as much sex as possible, right? As much everything as possible, there will still be more. You cannot, impossible. It's impossible for you to get everything, to eat everything, to have everything. It's not possible. You do not have the capacity, right? Like that joke. I don't know if it's a joke, more a painful realization, I would call it instead. But I do kind of laugh at painful realizations, the cosmic giggle, where I was like thinking to myself how I might not be able to directly help every single person in the world, but maybe I could just hug every single person in the world. And then I chat GPT, like, if I could, in an ideal perspective, where we have like an infinitely long line of every single person in the world, give every single person a hug for just 5 seconds, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, that's not too long. It would take me 400,000 years to hug every single person in the world. And do you know how many extra human beings there will be in 400,000 years? It's impossible. It is completely impossible for us as an individual flesh being to have everything. And then connecting that to the whole rocket ship analogy, I do actually value interplanetary, species as a fractal for humanity. I think that's a good thing, because we find ourselves in a brief kind of like sliver of history where we actually have the capacity to put consciousness out there, right? To become a multiplanetary species. But it's impossible for you to explore just this world completely, right? And I feel like there should be something of an amount of awe about that we get to have so much beauty right here alongside us. We don't even have to rocket ship ourselves. The moon last night was beautiful, fantastic, really was. I was like thinking about this and I want to share this with you friends. As I was looking at the moon yesterday and looking at my shadow being cast by the moon, I was thinking to myself that this kind of like light that I'm getting right now is traveling a certain amount of distance, right? And I'm pretty used to that. And then when it hits the moon and reflects and travels back to me, that technically is light traveled the furthest amount of distance to get to me, right? And I was like thinking about that. I was like, oh yeah, I feel light on my face that's traveled further than the normal light would have. And it was creating like a sense of awe in me. I don't know if it does anything for you, friends, but have some conscious evolution. Does a person like you know what a nap is even like? I'm just seeing, Doug Dad angrily, like anxiously laying there. It's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm napping. It's like, are you sure? Oh, it's beautiful. I'm guessing the moon. Man, I think I scrolled up too much. There we go. At 5 a.m., right before the sunrise, I was starstruck by the moon. Love is true. I couldn't find the stream on YouTube. What's going on with the algorithm? I don't know either. Sometimes I have to scroll down, refresh, refresh, refresh a bunch of times before I see my own as well. Just go to subscriptions and then live melt is at the top. Thank you, Natalie, for that as well. Love you, Joe. I'm not a fan of that feeling. Next time, duck. May you wake up easy, rested, and comfortable. Did I miss something? Oh, there we go. Joe, I fell asleep with my wife and duckling at nap on Sunday. I slept for 45 minutes, woke up in a panic and was like, shit, that was my first nap in like 4 years. Yeah, that experience of like instant anxiety of, like your heart actually, unironically, is like aggressively beating. Even though I don't really enjoy that experience, a part of me does, right? The part of me that finds joy and excitement, right? Kind of does enjoy that experience of like, why am I so riled up? I just came from a nap, please. Good morning again, Lolo. I hope life is treating you well. Even better with you here, dear friend. Thank you for treating us to your presence. I have work today, says Sano. Still feel we're saying that. We are doing diamond painting today. Painting diamonds? That sounds hard, actually. Blessings to you, Sano. Thank you for being that guide to other beloved friends. Nancy, I did that. I only showed up yesterday's. It only showed up for yesterday's and the previous. I hope that it continues to. Maybe the algorithm is just being a little bit coy. Mel talking about yoga and handstands, and I only picture Ryan doing the handstand instead of the bridge pose last week. It is, a whole vibe. I I would like to be stronger than I am. I feel like I'm not technically doing the amount of work I ought to be doing if I want to be as strong as I want to be. But I'm doing well, right? I'm doing fine. Pat self on back. Don't be so hard on yourself. Oh, you're strong enough. Oh, you can do a pull up at least. Life is good, Shan. Spending as much time outdoors as I can before winter season arrives. Good. Embrace, absorb all of them good vibes, right? I'd rather die young and look sick of muscles on muscles on muscles. Yeah, I mean, you can technically use steroids, you know, and you already have a child now, so maybe infertility isn't that big of a problem for you right now. But injecting something into my body so I have like a certain baseline of testosterone so I can build a certain level of muscle and then having to continue injecting myself with a compound that's going to cost me money every single time I inject it so I can continue maintaining that level of muscle. That just doesn't seem like a vibe to me. However, having like a single gene editing therapy that like knocks out my myostatin and then I'm like waxed, right? I don't have to do that again, hopefully. Technically, gene therapy can be reversed by your own body as well. That sounds like a more practical version of it for me. But then again, you won't be that jacked. Like those animals that I showed you have been myostatinless since conception, essentially, right? Like they were born into this world without the myostatin gene. That's why they're so muscle bound. But if you put it in your body at this point, you won't get there, which I think is a good thing, right? I don't want to look like that. Again, love to you, Bedell. I did 29,000 steps at work. No wonder I get fat in the winter when I can't keep that up. That is pretty crazy, bro. I mean, you can still, exercise. I mean, I got a little bit fat this winter as well. So even though I'm exercising, it is what it is. Yikes, that dog. It's a little bit, again, from birth, they had no myostatin, right? So literally their entire existences, their bodies just have the ability to build muscle. It's like, yeah, build more muscle. Why not? Oh, nothing is telling us to stop building muscle. We're gonna build some more muscle. Yeah, melt fam. Melt, show a hairless chimpanzee. Oh yeah, hey Google, can you show me a hairless chimpanzee? Like these dudes are stacked. So stacked. Uh, Look at this dude. I wanna get a good photo. These aren't bad photos, but they're not that good. Mm, 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 mm. Come on, one of these. I feel like that one, I guess, is okay. Maybe this one. Yeah. Look at this dude. This one doesn't have a myostatin gene enhancement. Like that's just how jacked they are, but they're covered in fur. right? So like human beings can look like that, technically. We just do not find ourselves in the same amount of challenging environments. We have definitely become comfortable, I think is a good word, right? A part of this mutation process, but that comfortable lifestyle leads to mutations that kind of chase that comfort, right? And I do believe that there is value in discomfort as well. Little bro looks like a human. That's the first thing that I was thinking as well, Dry Historian. Like I see monkey and I'm like, bro, I'm not too far away from that. Oh, like I might be a little bit more intelligent, but like unironically, if you give a monkey a smartphone and you teach it how to use Instagram, it will scroll Instagram, right? It'll be addicted. Not only will it scroll, it will be just as addicted as we are, right? And then weirdly enough, you know what it likes to see the most? Other monkeys. It will find freaking chimpanzee TikTok and it will chimpanzee TikTok. Yeah, well, yeah, this is lit, right? Even birds. I even saw birds. Even birds know how to use smartphones, right? Where there was this little parakeet sitting on a perch with a cell phone, and then it would like use its little tongue to navigate the user interface, and then it would click on other bird videos, and then it would see these two burbies, having conversations with one another, and it would like pay attention to that, and then the person who was filming it would like close out of the video, and then that bird would instantly, without missing a beat, try and find another bird video and click on it again, or not only did it like close the video, but I think they opened the video or something else, like a car video or something like that. And the burp was like, nah, fam, I want to see burp. Let me see other burps, please. Might be, the little burpee being lonely. But again, it just shows to me that consciousness understands intrinsically how to use these interfaces to have experiences, and it boggles my mind because we don't see our creatures, our pets, as nearly as intelligent as we are, and we kind of like put ourselves on a little bit of a pedestal because of our mutations, right? We are the way we are because we've mutated to be these beings. It doesn't make us any better, it just means that we're a little bit different. I'm happy to hear that, Lolo. I definitely feel you spending time outdoors while it's warm enough out there, exactly. Hey everyone, check out my new pants in general. I think I saw Kristen posting some cool photos in Yoga Floga as well. Those are some pretty cool pants. They make me think about the 90s for some reason. I don't know why. I feel 90s vibes. Since Zano, called us all to see her pants. Look at them pantses. Aren't they sicketh? Do you get 90s vibe from that as well? I mean, they're not exactly that 90s pattern, but they're like close enough to be adjacent. 90s adjacent, If the 90s were a little bit more modern. Hey, I see Melita here too, lurking from the shadows of the full moon. Blessings to you. It's nice having you here, dear friend. Dry, what kind of work are you looking for? I always ask because you never know if I have an idea for you. Thank you, Shell, for offering your support. Dan saying, I've had a couple of rough days. I went out of a friend, Marcus, who is a great wingman, but I have a massive paralytic anxiety when I try to flirt. Like I literally become silent and I'm so talkative. Yeah, it's because of the expectation, course, because I don't know anything. But as soon as you go into a situation with like, oh, I'm gonna flirt with this person because maybe she'll sleep with me or maybe she'll be interested in me, it instantly sets you up for a loss. So because now you're not yourself anymore. You are monkey going like right, and then we don't want to be that. One of the good pieces of advice that I'd like to share with people every single time they share with me their uncomfortability of talking to women is women are also people, right? All you have to do is treat her like a person, ask her about her life, ask her what she's interested in, right? That is how you flirt, in my mind. You pay attention, you show interest in the other person. And if they show interest in you as well, then there can be a flow of information starting. But when you're trying to be like, yo, what's up? You want to sex me? like that's all obviously going to be uncomfortable no matter how you slice it. It's because they're going to be uncomfortable, and then you're going to pick up on that discomfort, and then it's going to make you uncomfortable with you making them uncomfortable, and then both of you are going to be uncomfortably staring at each other. Right? Just treat them like a person. Be like, oh, this is also a person with hopes and dreams and insecurities, and a whole fractal of what their life has been and the way that they grew up with their family dynamic, etc., etc. We're all just people. I get it though. I understand. I used to be there too, but at the end, I believe in you, man. You so got this. If I get caught because some assholes can't make his hovercraft hover, I'm decided to check out the next life. Just saying. If I get caught, like I'm guessing you were meaning like someone is flying a hovercraft and then their hovercraft no longer hovers and they fly into you and then you're going to the next life. I'm not exactly sure. Just a retail / janitor job. I got some ideas to start though. Love is true. So don't flirt then. Sam is like, yeah. Flirting is a little bit cringe, right? Like it's a way in, but it's probably the worst way in, right? Hey Google, define flirting. Flirting. Behave as though sexually attracted to someone, but playfully, rather than with serious intentions. Yeah, you see, that instantly creates tension. Behave as though you're sexually attracted to someone. Because the way that my mind articulates that is just you like air humping. Like I know that's like the most extreme. But like that's the energy that there is like what's happening here right now? Like this doesn't feel I feel like I'm being violated. Oh please. Then don't flirt, just talk to them like you would if you were a person of a pepness. Yeah. We're all just people. Anyways, this is another hurdle I have on my spiritual guide. Jane says that she's seen this plenty before and that we'll work on it. I'm proud of you for noticing, right? From a place of awareness, paying attention to these fractals and choosing to show up, for the growth. One of the things that helps as well is just practice, right? Like I saw this YouTube video that kind of like touched a fractal in my mind where this dude just went out and asked girls to a coffee, a hundred girls to a coffee, to get as rejected as possible, to get rejected over and over and over and over and over again. And by the end of it, he was so comfortable with being rejected, it wasn't even a weird thing to him anymore, right? So practice makes perfect. Keep talking to people, you'll get more comfortable with it. Anyway, it's another hurdle, love is true. Dan, you're a smart, charismatic, and caring human being. Your brain is just put on block. Don't call it flirting, call it meeting a new person. There we go. I'm so happy to see you friends echoing the sentiment as well. So I'm enjoying Natalie. I get that it is really that simple, but I have a barrier in my mind. That's what I'm trying to deal with. The barrier is expectation, right? Because as soon as we engage in that way with a person, right? As soon as you flirt in that context, you make your sexual attraction known. Them not having the same sexual attraction to you can feel, if you have that expectation, like an assault onto you, right? It's like, oh, I'm sexually attracted to this person, but they're not sexually attracted to me. Does that mean I'm not sexually attractive? Right? When showing up with that expectation allows that level of questioning. When it's like, oh, new person, let's see if we have chemistry with one another. Let me get to know this person, right? Let me get to see how this person operates. And then allowing sexual attraction to arise from that connection. Instead of it being like, oh, I'm sexually attracted, let me go and make a connection. You see, like that's the whole you can't force a connection, fractal we were talking about a little bit ago as well. I call Dry Dirty because she used to watch my streams all the time when we talk and misread her name as Dirty Historian. And I apologize if I'm not noticing it for like 2 weeks. It's hilarious. I mean, the fact that she wants to, keep the world clean, kind of like adds to that fractal as well right now. Doc, I love that nickname. Oh, perfect. Most people, friends are people I'm trying to chat with, don't even notice. They just think I'm quiet. But inside my mind, there is a complete shutdown happening. Yeah, I do understand, right? I feel that way, especially around conservative people. I'll say it just like that, right? Where I'm like, if I talk the way that I usually want to talk, I'm not going to be able to sound sane to this person. They'll instantly label me as a nutcase. So I'll just stay inside, keep my little safe space, inside. A wicked witch and her peasant in a mask have stormed my office. Are you serious? What? Okay, I am no longer voice chatting if this is what comes out from Mel. Yeah, I got a giant band-aid on my thumb and I can't type. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's just sometimes I have a hard time understanding. I think you should leave, Natalie. So it sounds like you need a script or a present number of things to say to get a conversation going naturally, Dan. That's not a big deal. A lot of people are bad at that. Yeah. Weirdly enough, you know what has actually helped me, unironically, get better at conversations? Games, right? The fact that you have dialogue options in games. And then just learning what type of dialogue options you would pick if you had dialogue options. And then doing that same thing in real life, right? Actively listening to what the person is saying and then generating dialogue options around that person's fractal, showing that interest. I bring lasagna stuff and flee to you then. Yeah, love is true. There's a recent season, Archer. I think I did see there's a new season of Archer coming out, but I haven't seen it myself. With a great sentiment on instant intimacy. I recommend you go looking for it, Dan. It may help shed some light on how you can work past this. Bless. Archer giving good advice. Archer has given me a lot of good advice. Like, weirdly enough, and you friends have probably, I don't know if you've noticed that, but my mom looks like the Archer mom. Like a lot. I don't know. Like, my mom is like the mild version of Archer mom, right? Like, she's not quite as brutal, but she's like there's definitely a tinge of that level of brutality. I trust my spiritual guide, Jane, to help me get some tools for these moments, Sam. I'm cutting my dad out. It's been easier to identify these other problems I'm dealing with. Yeah, I get it. Like I always try to do, I do recommend you believe in yourself first, right? Because your spiritual guide, Jane, won't always be there, right? And then what are you going to do? Where is the power going to come from when you don't have your support network? Not saying that the support network is going to go away, but realizing that there should be that level of self-reliance as well. At least that's what I believe. Archer always gives good advice, and part of the process is upsetting and frustrating. It makes me resent him more for leaving me with all of these problems. I've been in that loop for the past couple of days. Yeah, there's a bunch of things I can say, which I feel you've probably already said to yourself. You got this, Dan. I believe in you, man. Right, it's Mallory, that emotional closed offness. I like the name Mallory. Mallory. Am I missing something? Mallory the Witch? Sam, I use scripts, bullet points, otherwise I get frazzled and end up feeling like I don't say what I need to. Yeah. Mallory suffered a huge loss before the show started. Her dog died, and the implication is that she died from chocolate Mallory left out. It changed her years later. I believe that she was afraid to love her son the way that she loved her dog because the dog wound up dead. I feel like I'm completely missing any context, but that is pretty brutal. Did you get your remedy, Dan? I hope so. I did. There we go. Are you taking it? Right, that's also important. And doing so mindfully. Dan, I have been processing my own rejection of my family and relate to what you are describing. Bless. Thank you, Shell, for resonating with our friend. So, I am extra active today, and I am so happy to see so many friends. I was saying to my BFF last night that I built relationships with people in all the same regions of origins as my favorite wines. How about that? Yeah. Good people resonating with your good taste, right? Good on you for doing the work, Dan, moment by moment. Not giving up and actually showing up. I should do a binge of that show this winter. Archer is a good one. I like how they are basically, doing like multiverse kind of like vibes these days. The new season just started off literally last night. I should go check it out. gives the best advice in housekeeping. This is how you get ants. That line is iconic. Okay, Dan, good. You're very welcome. You might be experiencing surfacing. You might be experiencing emotion surfacing with your remedy, bringing everything up to the surface to be dealt with. It will get better though as you work through them. This is true, right? It's like getting melted. I've noticed, with Shan's remedies. Thanks, Joy. I'm trying. I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone and getting in touch with myself. Shocker, I know, but it's a bit uncomfortable. I have this photo saved that goes, "You don't hate yourself. You hate not being yourself." Right? None of us hate ourselves. We hate not being ourselves. And sometimes our circumstances, our environment, our relationships causes us to be something that we're not. And it's that version of ourselves that we hate, not ourselves. Remind yourself of that as well. Little bro looks like a human. Dad, Dan, I'm guessing, I feel for you, my dude. I thought it wasn't my father. He had to cut out my father in law. I can tell you things have been better without him. But yes, this is a very hard fractal to adapt. Absolutely. Ape covered in fur. Does anyone have a shaver to spare for numbers in case this one gets out? These past 2 days, I've been stuck on the fuck you, dad, for conditioning me to be anxious as hell fractal is a hard one. I get that too, dad, right? Mine used to be for the longest time, fuck you, dad, for conditioning me to believe I'm unworthy, right? To believe I'm unworthy of finances, to believe I'm unworthy of the the meals that I like to pick for myself, right? But I realize as well that the more I go fuck you, dad, the more I'm actually going fuck you myself, right? Because your dad is still you, right? Because there is no your dad without you, right? Without you being there to pay attention to that fractal, there is no that fractal. There is no your dad being your dad without you being his son. And unfortunately, with that level of projection, you're just saying fuck you to yourself. Fuck you, oh. And I'm like, for me, the day I really realized this is like on a 350 mic lion strip where I was looking at myself in the mirror, just paying very close attention to what I'm seeing. And then as I do that, I see my dad's face arising on top of mine, right? Like I could see my dad as a part of me. And then I couldn't help but coyly smile at that version of myself, right? Like this level of, yeah, I get it. I know, right? You wouldn't be who you are, Dad, if not for your dad, right? Despite the conditioning of the negatives, surely you get to be who you are because of that. And honoring that part of it, right? Not wishing it away, not saying fuck you to that version of ourselves, allows us to consciously evolve, allows us to mutate, to become something new, become something more strong, become something better. You can't have any light without the darkness, right? As the fractal. Actually, Dan, good for you. Your inner fuck you gets to have a fantasy conversation to tell your dad what for if you want to. Advanced healing technique, but difficult. Yeah, balance again, right? Because you're the one experiencing it. That's the thing that I've noticed more so than anything is that every single time I am negatively projecting to anyone, the person who is experiencing most of the negativity is myself. Again, it's a bandwidth thing, right? Like if you could, let's say, attack, right, your dad, be like, oh, fuck you, dad. Or maybe you go as far as to like punch his face, right? That is low bandwidth because you can only say so much. You can like echo fuck you over and over again 1,000 times and maybe he'll get the message, but it's not going to be as deep. Maybe you punch his face and he'll feel the pain, but it's not going to be deep. The true version of that pain is in you. You're the one experiencing it. And as long as we get addicted to this cycle of, you're the one experiencing that pain, not them. And letting go of that, again, that's the whole fractal of forgiveness. It's realizing that you're doing that and freeing yourself, not saying what your dad did was right, right? Oh yeah, dad, you conditioning me to be anxious, that's fine, that's perfect, that's okay that you did that. No, it's letting go inside ourselves of the resentment we have towards others for doing that in the first place. Definitely 90s pattern. I'm happy that you're resonating with it. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at, Shell. You absolutely. I know in my heart that love is true, but right now I hate him. I hate him so fucking much. I get it, bro. I really do. I said my bit. I know that you understand what I'm saying as well. Conscious evolution is uncomfortable and it takes time, and we're here for you throughout the whole process. Fortunately, let's go. Unfortunately, we can't heal for you. Fortunately, you don't have to do it alone. Just a friend before you try to date them. It's simple. Yeah, that's a good one. I understand that, Dan. It's a hard one. I was angry with my mom for so long, but you healing with it is part of the process. It will get better. You're strong and you will get through this. Love is true. Thank you, Shan, for echoing. Natalie says, fun fact about Mel's comment about flirting. This is how I approach everyone. People will be open to knowing you if you're just around them. You just show interest. That's really the hack. That's the trick to making friends, right? Like I've been thinking about this fractal a lot and I haven't talked about it on stream because it's kind of weird, right? And I don't know if it is tooting my own horn kind of vibe, but there's like maybe a little bit of that in it. That festival I went to, the White Rabbit Festival, I was in such a strange state of mind during that, the whole of that, right? We got there, I got into it. Uh, Only on Saturday did I take any psychedelics. And as I was coming into the psychedelic experience, I couldn't help but feel, because leading up to that psychedelic experience, there was multiple circumstances where I talked to people in a way that I could see them being unburdened. I could see something melt away, that they were right, the cactus they were gripping. I could see them letting go of that over and over again. And even though that was beautiful to me, I felt like it was this extreme burden that I can't give to everybody, right? Again, with the whole hug analogy. Even if I wanted to desperately be able to unburden every single person in the world, I do not, as this physical flesh version of myself, have the capacity to do that. And I could feel it as this heavy responsibility that I want to carry, but I don't know how to. And as I was stripping out, and I've shared this part of the story with you friends, as I was stripping out about this responsibility like a pillar standing in front of me that I didn't know how to carry, someone puts this drum down in front of me, right? And it was like all of this mental juju suddenly became an actual physical object, like a metaphor. And then realizing that I'm supposed to carry it, even though it's heavy, and putting it on my shoulder and going and dancing, it changed my interaction with the world. And there was this group of friends that were making fun of me, right? And I see these things and I understand it and I don't take offense because I make fun of me too, right? They were making fun of me and they were like mockingly mocking my dance style, right? And they were looking at me and they were like doing this whole thing because they could see me being in this whole trippy, I accept my responsibility state of mind. And the Sunday morning, still carrying this drum, one of these dudes, and I do actually know about his life. He makes these beautiful glass pieces. I walk with my drum, and I go and sit down next to him. And I can see in his state of being that he expects me to start talking about myself and about this experience I've been having this weekend. And the first thing that I do is honor him and talk to him about his art and about the things that he's creating and about the world that he is trying to shape for himself. and watching his mind melt straight up, like going from the state of like aversion to, oh shit, I completely misinterpreted. And the first words he says back to me after I honor him is, "You have changed." And I'm like, yeah, we do that. Change is inevitable, right? Again, this mutation, this conscious evolution. And it was in that specific fractal that I really realized the power of just honoring others, right? Seeing that this other person is, showing up for a whole world as well, despite, the fact that you're proud of yourself, honoring another person's way of, showing up in the world. Some people never have that. And being able to give that to another person is something of extreme value. So I thank you. I thank you, Natalie, for echoing that as well. Just speaking for myself, Dan, I don't want anybody flirting with me unless I've already known them for a while. Yeah, exactly. I think I've made the wrong choice of word when I said flirting. To me, flirting is just to have a normal conversation, but I'm not able to. I mean, again, right? You think of it as masculine, and I do, right? I see all body, like everybody, even the trees, as feminine, right? And me as a masculine awareness loves the feminine so much that I showed up, right? That's why I show up for love every day, because that's what I am, you know? And then realizing that everything is feminine, including other men, right? I get to talk to their masculine consciousness, the version of them that's paying attention, right? So a normal conversation, as you mentioned it, isn't flirting unless you're, bisexual and you're sexually interested in men as well. A normal conversation shouldn't be something that trips you out, right? Because there's no expectation. I feel like that's also a big thing, right? One, expectation of yourself to perform a certain way. Two, expectation of the other person to say certain things. Because again, sometimes we'll enthusiastically share a passion of ours. And if the other person doesn't echo that same level of enthusiasm, and we expected that of them, we're instantly going to feel like there's some sort of loss. And then it's going to cause us to contract and go inward. When a solar flare happens, wars happen, fires, or strange weather extremes. Yeah, we are more interconnected than we realize, right? And things change. The few times I've had people hit on me, it made me so flustered, and I don't know how to handle it. Yeah, me too, in fact. Right? It's like it puts you on your back feet. It's like, the fuck's happening right now? Tricolored cornea? I have to look into that. How dare you say women's are people? I'm not trying to hit on these people. I'm trying to be like, hey, how are you? But I can't even get that out. Okay, I get that. If someone ever came up to me and is like, you want to sex me? I would be most turned on and afraid I've ever been in my life. Weirdly enough, that level of forwardness probably would be valued by me as well, especially since I have a hard time with social cues, right? Like, I have actively, my whole life, been learning, like, unironically studying books just to be able to talk to people, right? Because it does not come naturally to me. Like, I thrive alone, just being by myself, right? But I realize that there is value in participating in the world, right? And then I try to find balance between those extremes. I'd like to give my best pickup line. It actually works. How much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice. My name is Dan. That is kind of cute, actually. I would unironically be like, hey, that's kind of funny. No, that's not quite it. I see what you're saying. Perhaps flirting is the wrong word. Yeah, 100%. Right? Because it's a sexual attraction thing if you flirt. The connection rant needs to be clipped into a GIF. I feel like that connection rant is an important one, right? You cannot force a connection of someone. It's impossible. It doesn't work that way, right? Like, a connection is made when two people show up for it. And sometimes you might be in a certain place, sometimes the other person might be in a certain place. And if those two places do not align, the connection will not be made. And it doesn't mean anything other than not the time, right? Like realizing that and not taking it personally is also, a place of growth that we need to kind of find ourselves within. Consciously evolve, right? Mutate. Mutate to not take offense. I've had a guy walk up to me, call me beautiful, the most beautiful person ever, and then mysteriously walk away. It was so weird and confusing. Hmm. I mean, I don't know if I've done the most beautiful person in the world, but I've also just randomly given people compliments, not for the sake of sexual attraction, just for the sake of this person created this experience in me, and I wanted to share that with them. I'm sorry that it was weird and confusing. Is it good though, right? Did it feel good, albeit weird and confusing? Was there expectation, right? Was there more supposed to be? Were they supposed to start humping the air in front of you because you're the most beautiful person ever? Maybe they wanted you, maybe they were like communicating their interest to you and they wanted you to pick it up from there. It's like, oh, I think you are the most beautiful person in the world that I've ever seen. Giving you that space, right? Then you kind of like hold all the chips to do something with that. Maybe that's a level of respect as well. Then even using the term wingman gives that energy. Yeah, that you're looking for ladies. Know what I mean? I do. I'm just I'm trying to just start a conversation with someone and take a genuine interest in them. But if I'm attracted to this person, I have essentially a panic attack. Yeah. Like I feel like the biggest, takeaway, conscious evolution that we could make is just reducing our expectations, right? What are you expecting? And realizing that this is a person, right? And there are certain things that you can expect from a person, like be decent, you know? I can expect that. You be decent, I be decent, right? You have to sex me? Mm-mm, no. That's a little bit of a extreme expectation. If they want to, right, and you want to, then it's no longer an expectation. Then it's a mutual, want, something that both of you can consent to. But having a casual conversation usually doesn't have that context with it. Sexual attraction usually is something that forms over a period of time, right? It's something that's cultivated, essentially. I'm not trying to be critical, just helpful. I agree with you, Loizana. I think you're making good points. Dry, it's the call to the void. I've seen someone so beautiful, I wanted to tell them, but Asian wisdom has showed me that I have no backup plan, but I just wanted them to know. Yeah, me too. I've done the same thing, right? And I feel like it is hard for people to accept that level of, I want to say almost like platonic. Is it the right word? Hey, Google, define platonic again. Platonic, intimate and affectionate, but not sexual. Yeah, right. You can be affectionate and intimate in that way, complimenting someone without it being sexual, without there being any expectation, right, or any need for something to come of it. When I say wingman rabbit, I just mean a guy, friend who is good at starting conversations with strangers. I feel like again, the word flirt and the word wingman has a certain uh, fractal attached to it, right? A cultural expectation as well. That's beautiful, Mel. No, you. No, you, Nancy. All of these things that I'm saying could be gibberish sounds. The fact that you friends can absorb and extract beauty from that says more about you than it does about me. In that case, Dan, I am the best wingman ever. Me too. I would also be a fantabulastic wingman. I love starting conversations with random strangers because I expect nothing, right? I'm giving. I'm giving you my attention. I'm giving you a compliment. I'm giving you, this experience. I don't want anything from you. There's nothing you can give me. I'm complete. I'm whole. Like I am a whole unit of person. I get to show up from that place. Maybe that's the growth that we need to do. Then I was that for Keith. He would ask my wife if he could take me out, flirt. And that's hilarious. In that case, Dan, I'm the best wingman. Just ask people about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. Exactly. I think I just have a more innocent perspective on the terms flirt or wingman. It speaks to my lack of experience in these sorts of things. I get it. Entering a flirt fight mode, enchantments equals self love. Yeah, that's true, right? Like a certain level of self love or a lack of self love can lead us to one way or another. Hi, bye, Gregory, to you too. Sending your blessings, dude. Amara is here as well. It's nice having you little ones here joining us. Instantly, I have to now pivot the conversation we're having because I feel like this is not exactly the most child friendly, conversation matter. I think it is valuable for conscious evolution, that's definitely, something I'll stand by, but maybe not for them right now. Fair enough. I honestly didn't even know if they were serious or not because I don't see myself that way. I was like, what? Thanks, I guess. Take those, right? Do take those. I actually ran a house instead of a spy organization. How old are you? You probably are, Natalie. My friend Marcus put it very eloquently. He told me, you're great at sitting in the room, but you don't know how to open the door. I'm 29. It's okay. Right? Sometimes it takes us a lifetime to grow. Most times. Sometimes people have a lifetime to grow and they still don't. And all I see, Dan, is your willingness to. And we're proud of you for that. Well, I didn't know it was a script for flirting. I recommend talking about coding or macroeconomics as fish bait for potential partners. Talk about what you find interesting. And if they find that interesting as well, that's a good place to start a connection with, right? Dan, if only I could take you on a cross country Canada tour. Small town bars are great for bringing up out the conversation. Farmers markets too. Farmers markets too. There we go. Bye everyone. I'm off to work. Love you. My card guess is blue. Let's see. You friends should remember as well as Anna was correct. Dirty. Dry historian. I'm sure your inner beauty and outer beauty make for a wonderful vibe. I get it though. We are our own worst critic. Absolutely. I believe you friends are beautiful. Right? I am biased. I am a little bit biased because you friends choose to join me here, but I think you're so beautiful. The fact that you're here, makes you even more so. Keith laughed like Archer. He's been my go-to show ever since. As always, thanks for this perspective, for the space to be messy and grow with y'all. I'll get through it. Fortunately, you don't have to do it alone again, right? That's the value of this space. My moves are bold. My heart is cold. My knee, my knee. What's happening right now? We have the younguns in the stream again. Think of the anxiety about flirting as a filter for those willing to put in the effort to get to know you while you work on yourself, of course. Again, agreed. I think I'm gonna get going, take a shower, and go for a walk soon for the depression. Bless. Get yourself out there. Just being outside already helps, I agree. Thank you for moving your body dry. I like a good shower, post shower walk. I hope it helps. I believe it will. Mm-mm-mm. Meltmore says Shell, I disagree with you on this issue about the inner fuck you and the dialogue and rejecting the parents' lies. It's an important part of the healing process. It's not about imagining violence. I cannot be free of their abuse until I call it out for what it was and say fuck you. And I agree with that. Again, and I said that, Shell. I just realize that there is a point, right? Like there's a saturation point. Like think of it like a meter, right? Where your process of, in your words, breaking free from their abuse, right? It gets filled up. And then after you have filled that fuck you bar, sorry children, you have to let go. Otherwise, you're just going to be looping around and around and around and around. And there's going to be no growth because you're going to be stuck in that state of, fuck you, person. And I've noticed, I've tried hating my dad. I've tried. Guess what? Both of us just end up feeling worse, right? And that's like where I find value more so than ever. It's not necessarily the breaking free from the abuse necessarily, because I do think that's important, right? But I don't think that's of value, because you might break free from the abuse of your, parents, but you end up abusing yourself with your food habits, or you abuse yourself with the relationships you get yourself into, or you abuse yourself with etc., etc., right? And for me, the point is when you get stuck in that fuck you loop, it almost like gives you a reason to abuse yourself in other ways, right? And letting go of that is the step to actual growth, to actual healing. And that's my personal opinion. Unfortunately, we get to disagree. Hey, love is to you, John. Blessings to you too. Yeah, I just described it wrong. I want to start a normal conversation with someone I'm attracted to without having a panic attack. No hitting on them, nothing overtly sexual or anything. And when it became clear that I was struggling, to my friend Marcus, he was like, I'm shocked. You exude this level of confidence, and I never thought you were struggling in this way. Yeah, I get that too. I'm pretty vocal about that stuff, even with like Christian, for example. I'll mention to him the amount of social anxiety that I experience, and he will usually, more often than not, just echo back to me as like, chill out, bro. You're tripping. You're just tripping yourself out. Try to notice things we're wearing, what they might consider important. Do they paint their nails? Ask them about the color. If she's wearing any shoe without laces, ask her about her favorites. Good. That's good. That's some good questions. Please help me, please. You're being helped, dude. All you have to do is realize that you're here for a reason right now, Gregory. Today's whole stream topic is about how a mutant is someone who changes into something else, right? And I know you're still young, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But all you have to do is pay attention to how you've changed already, right? Think about the version of yourself that you've been 5 years ago, and then think about the version of yourself that you're right now. And then imagine, who will you be 5 years from now again? Paying attention to this process of evolving, of becoming something else, and then realizing that that is how we help ourselves, right? Nobody can help you that way, unfortunately. You can expose yourself to good information. You can expose yourself to people that will uplift you and support you during that journey, but nobody can do it for you, right? Nobody can help you, unfortunately, when it comes to the work that we have to do. Fortunately, though, as I said to Brother Dan as well, Gregory, you don't have to do it alone. We'll be here to support, even if we might not be able to help. It's about drawing a line and recognizing self love and purging one's mind and body of the old beliefs. I get that, Shell. I do. But again, right? If you're saying fuck you to your dad, that is again a belief, one that will not serve you, right? It won't. I'm sorry, and I cannot even pretend that it will. You might feel a sense of relief, right? But in the same way as eating food can give you a sense of relief, or it could give you a sense of relief, there is still this pressure that rebuilds, right? This need to eat again, right? You're gonna have to go, fuck you, dad, again. And in that way, it's not beneficial because you're just forming new cycles that are destructive to the self. That's the point I'm making, right? It doesn't serve you. It might serve the feeling of, being okay with separating yourself from this person. It gives you that relief, but it doesn't serve your person. These are good tips, Sam. I get stuck inside my head, and noticing simple stuff right in front of me is an easy way to get out of it. Agreed. All you have to do is reground yourself, right? Forget Sam's advice, listen to me. Ask her how much she likes apps. My stepdad advised me one time to get people to talk about themselves, and it really works. It absolutely does. Yes, Sam, when I go on dates from dating apps, there's no anxiety, and I'm really good at asking questions and taking interests. It's just the IRL interactions where I get wrecked. Yeah. Like my friend said, I'm great at sitting in the room, but I struggle with opening the door. I'll check it out, Rabbit. I've been doing some more self help reading. Excellent book called How to Talk to Anyone by Leigh Lonetis. I don't know if that's the same one that I read, but there's another book called like How to Influence People and Talk to Anyone, like 94 something, How to Talk to People. Also, very good information, and like the biggest takeaway from that whole fractal is Every single person in the world wants to feel important, right? That's what we want. We want to feel important. We want to feel like we contribute something, that we create value, that people appreciate us being there. And that's all you have to do to make people feel something for you, is make them feel important, right? Echo. Oh, I see you painted Sam's fractal. I see you painted your nails purple. Why is that important to you? Right? Why pick the color purple? Do you find significance in the color purple? And in that way, you can kind of like accentuate the importance other people place on their worlds, on themselves. And then we can kind of like start a kind of fractal with that. Sam had the most insanely great pickup line yesterday in yoga. Oh, beautiful, great goddess, in your infinite wisdom, do you know what I want to do to you? Oh, the most insane pickup line. Thank you for the blessings. Love is true. My AC is getting new coils right now. Yay! I hope you get super cool, dude. Blessings to you. I'm happy that it's coming, technically as it's becoming winter. Maybe it can like heat things up as well, I believe. Mel, it's so good of you to bring a vulnerability. Love you. Thank you, friends, for echoing these, blessings with me as well. My heart, guy, I'm gonna talk to my doc about my spreading sickness. What? Not me, what's happening right now? Amara is pain. Life is pain, bro. And Amara technically is alive. Even though I say that, I don't actually believe it. I don't believe life is pain. I believe parts of life is painful. Parts of life can induce suffering. But I don't really subscribe to that as the reality, right? Again, as you friends have been painfully reminded, I believe life is love, that we're here for the sake of love, that love is true, right? That if we're seeking truth in this world, the one truth we will continue to find is love. Because if not for love, why are you breathing air right now? If not for love, why take a sip of water? Hydrate your body. If not for love, why pet your animals? If not for love, why have children? If not for love, why take care of other people? If not for love, why show up for your job, right? And realizing that, and then just kind of leaning into that fractal. I figured, Amara, have you straightened out your leg yet? Amara is actively recovering, but she is in pain. Okay, good. Skip my child inappropriate comments, please, Mel. I hope I did. I might not have. I feel like, fortunately, children are very intelligent, right? Like the amount of babying, and we have this word in Afrikaans. It's called "tukkies omdraai," which is like I'm gonna pad this topic so it's child friendly. Children are brutal, yo. Children are way more messed up than we give them credit for. Please help me breathe. And realize that as you continue to breathe, your body will heal itself. It'll take time, but it will happen. Slowly but surely, might you both write for your phases of life. Love is true. French toast sticks. Dang, I missed it. It's okay. I have a word study. Tell us about your word study. Okay. Hey, we're actually getting a comment, a full ass texted comment. Amara just said, okay, so there was an alien, I'm guessing that word is, that came at 3 a.m. and twerked into the house, and then it twerked its way to heaven and saw Jesus. And Jesus said goodbye and died. Stay safe, anyways. That's quite a story. I actually have it. I made it up, by the way. Good. I'm happy to hear that. I actually have a story like that as well. Mine is kind of similar. So here's this. I was meditating and I was getting into this deep space, and I was doing this thing where I was trying to push myself into my breath work, Amara. So I would go, hold, hold. And then I would get deeper and deeper and deeper into that state of mind. And then eventually I saw what looked like, or what at least in my mind registered as Jesus. And he was passing me metaphorically a torch. But because of my personal fractal, instead of it being like an actual torch, he passed me a marijuana cigarette. a joint, right? And as I was reaching out to grab this joint from this Jesus character, I realized that the hand reaching out was no longer mine and was in fact the hand of an alien, green, green, purple, spotted, three-fingered alien that actually grabbed the joint from this Jesus character handing the torch. And then I realized that that process keeps happening, where this torch gets passed from one entity to another, and I could see this almost like stacking of layers of arms of reaching out and grabbing these torches over and over again. And just before I opened my eyes to come out of the meditation, I was holding the joint, and it melted my brain. So thank you, Amara, for allowing me to share that story of mine as well. Sam, I was offered in the least. I was not offended in the least, just gobsmacked. I wish I could remember what you said. I like gave you like the cliff notes to remember a little bit again. Those of us who went through physical emotional abuse, place of Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, we might end up loving the abuser, you know. And I get that as well, to rid yourself, you know, by taking a stance like fuck you person for abusing me, right? I get that, Shell. I do. But after you're outside of that fractal, is there a point in still trying to free yourself? Because in my mind, and this is now again the philosophy slash psychology side of myself, I think that every single time you reaffirm that fuck you, you're also victimizing yourself, because having to reaffirm means that you're still stuck in that fractal, at least in one way or another. It was truly awful pickup line, but I always loved another just way. Love is true either way. Was the alien the tooth fairy, Amara? The twerking tooth fairy. I mean, like, I'm just imagining like an alien twerking, and that's like scar enough. Sometimes you gotta bust a move. I've seen it too. I'm not even surprised, brother Joe Schmo. And I explodes. Explodes. I love it when I explode. All right. Time to pull a card, shall we? I'm feeling a little bit tight. Oof. Oh. Back in my body. Let's see what sacred geometry has to say today. The sun is firing my laser at my eyeballs, but it's getting close to setting, so I'm thinking of it like as low energy. Dark purple with yellow. We had Zano predict blue. We have brother Joe Schmo predicting dark purple with yellow. Let's see what we get, shall we? Let's see what card we'll be pulling. Yellow slash red. This one. This card right here. This one. Holy shit, Joe Schmo. That's like eerie almost, bro. That's like literally dark purple and yellow. Like that is like kind of tripping me out right now. Like that's like dangerously accurate. How cool, dude. Yeah. Dark purple and yellow. That is exactly the Karas. What the fuck? Yeah, right, Sam? Right? Right? Because like there's like darker purples in the background, and then lighter purples as contrast, and then like straight up yellow. Joshmo was like just echoing of the fractal that I was sharing as well, you know, making me feel even more connected to him. And then he's like, yeah, I have some connection. So I deleted the comment, but I'm gonna rewrite it better. My anecdote is that the angry energy towards things in the past causes my current brain to spiral into arguments that might never happen. Thank you, Joe, for actually sharing that, because I was like feeling into that as well, but I couldn't properly share what I was feeling. Exactly that, right? Where we end up fighting in our own brains. Like the fuck you, dad is the start, but then they retort, and then you say something again, and you're like, and that happens inside you, and it creates this tumultuous energy inside of our own beings. Is that Simon Thomas? Brush hair syndrome got that. Are you telling me to brush my hair? No. If I try to, I do actually brush my hair, but if I try to brush my hair right now, I'll just have the comb stuck. Pull on it. Excuse, I thought this friendly, but I'm not, so frick shred darn. I hate it when I frick shred darn, dude. That sucks. So, Jade. Brush hair syndrome. I knew what you were saying, Mel. I know that you do, bro. You friends pay attention. Spiraling into love. Yeah, right? Instead of spiraling into hatred, into the fuck you energy, to spiral into love. It is hard, I know. But card number 44. What a perfect card for today as well. Becoming something else, huh? Yes, sir, you're cool. Thank you, Simon. It's nice having you here, friend. And I haven't seen your name here before, but it's an honor having you here. That purple twisty kind of love. Purple twisties, right? And this is a technically a romantic couple, but I believe that again, right, this whole relationship we have with reality is a romance. You're here because you love as the masculine awareness that is unchanged, right? You're not suddenly a different awareness tomorrow, or you're not from moment to moment a different awareness. Sure, the things of which you are aware changes, but the actual awareness remains the same, is stable, is unchanged. And I associate that energy with masculinity. And then nature, this physical body, is only change. It's constantly melting and changing and becoming and arising and falling away. And I believe us as awareness shows up for that change from a place of love. And that's what this card means to me. So spiraling into love, intimacy, and communication, echoing Brother Dan's, fractal in today's stream as well. Maybe he spirals into love so fast that it ends up making him feel like he's in the bottom of the well and he doesn't know what to say. The spiral helix of our DNA whirls around this sacred couple, awareness and that which is aware of. You and this body, you and this life. Around this sacred couple and quickens communication of their intimacy. Human DNA helps connect us to the web of creation. It holds ancestral knowledge as well as future potential in a vast library of information. That's mutation, right? It's even more synchronicities. Also, swirling around this couple are spirals of possibility that they have only to recognize in order to activate. As they experience both human sexuality and universal love, this information stimulates their conscious decision to communicate with genuine intimacy. There are many styles of communication. Simple words may be effective for making a statement or providing instructions. However, when concepts and emotions enter the exchange, words often fail to convey the message intended. This card asks you to view the way you communicate. Do you speak from your heart with respect and serenity? Do you truly listen to the person with whom you are speaking? Resolve to look into the eyes with whom you are talking and recognize the divine being sitting in front of you. Feel the other's body language and notice their essence. Listen with discernment before you respond. Formulate your words as if they are prayers, wanting to be shared. With gentle grace and positive intent, speak your truth in the most intimate way you are able. Hot damn! Hot damn! Diggity damn! Yeah, that's a whole vibe, yo. What a synchronicity to finish today's stream off. We're in South Africa, Groblersdal. Mpumalanga, if you want the state, province, we call them. Mpumalanga. It's nice having you here, Simon. It's always a blessing having new friends. Oh boy, what flavor? Pie, pie, pie. Dad, I'm hungry. School's out today, huh? It seems that way. I don't think school has started. Yeah, there's Gregory with it as well. Why did why did you name this YY? You got a problem with that, Joe? Write your congressman. Formulate. It's like these kids being out of school, having vacations. That's not cool, yo. Put the kids in school 24/7. All of the school, all of the time. I don't have a congressman. I'll write a letter to my squirrels to see what they can do. Formulate your words as if their prayers wanting to be shared. Cool. Blessings to you, Simon. Where are you from, dude? Where are you from, Simon? You live in America? Or are you from land on under? Are you from the Asia countries? Where are you from, dude? I'm curious as well. The sun hath setteth. UK! How about that? I mean, we have a Simon, a Insane Simon, that's also living in the UK right now. No, he used to live in the UK. He moved to the Netherlands, actually. The childs are spamming blank spaces. You're gonna get Sam hammered, right? I hope you know that. The consequences of your actions. Technically, you're not. I mean, like, technically, it's not that bad, but still. Oh, break out the big swatter if I have to. Sam is like. I'm so sorry about the crunchy noises as I'm trying to get this fluffy on my little microphone. My little instrument. Okay. Freaking children. We love them. We love them. We love the children. They're our future. We have to acknowledge that they're also growing. You know, and we have to acknowledge that we were children once, and then we were also up to some stupid shiznit. So growth, right? Slow but surely, growth will happen. Nah, I think this perspective is better. I'll be mushroom, and I'll play some kalimba. skibopped. Stream done. What a what an experience. Thank you. Thank you, Simon. Yeah. My little thumb piano, I think they call it. I see Gabri. It's nice having you here too, bro. It's always nice to know that you're joining us as the Kalimba plays. Knowing that you are musically inclined, I feel like your vibrations is being sent to me as well. Same for Joe Schmo. Same for all of you friends. That sound makes my eyelids feel heavy. Playing you sleep. Plays even harder. Sleep even faster. Thanks, y'all. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for offering such beautiful fractals to today's stream, allowing us to have like such a meaningful conversation, man. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. Tibbity, skibabity, kilimbabi papiti. Love that doggy in the background. As I was reading your comment, I had to like bring it down. My little Peppy Woofter. I'm gonna catch you. Let me catch you. Instantly, she's like, "No, fam, ain't gonna catch me. Ain't gonna catch me. I'll let you give me lovin's, but I don't want to be picked up. Can I pick you up? Can I pick you up, please? Let me pick you up, please. I'm gonna pick you up. Come here, come here. Let me pick you up. Let me give you lovin's. I wanna love you. I wanna love you. Yeah, yeah, got my little baby panties. My sweetie patootie. Yeah, you poppity. Okay, there you go. Freedom. Yeah, what's it up? You see something? I smell nothing. No. No, woofy. It's nothing. It's just peace. Just peace. Thank you. Okay, it's like a PS4 controller guitar. Yeah, that's a good one. PS4 controller piano might be more appropriate, but 100%, right? It's easy enough. It's pretty forgiving. Like you can make mistake, and it still kind of sounds gentle. Okay. We're gonna have to start staying around ever find out. Yeah, 100%. Melt and more. I didn't get to spend much time with you today, but I super love you all, as we do you, Joshma. Even a moment is enough. Gorgeous hound. Yeah, she really is. Look at her majesticing out there. You know, look at this dapper dog paying attention to the world. Yeah, thank you, Pepperkees. Thank you for keeping me safe. I appreciate your efforts, Pepperkees. Okay, our Shan message and go. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I wholeheartedly, truly love you all so, very super duper extremely, exponentially, enormously, immensely, vastly, ginormously, holy cow, dearly. Melt, and all of you, oh so, very amazingly, admirable, admirably. I'm not gonna say curse words because we have children here. Admirably. Yeah, I got that one. Admirably. Yeah, English is totally my first language. Tunes is here, sending him blessings. Admirably, fascinatingly, marvelously, extraordinarily, enchantingly, inconceivably, gorgeously, blazingly, radiantly, magically, divinely precious fellow mutant friends. Human beings becoming something new, something more, something even more loving than we could have knew. You're so wonderful. Thank you for being you. No, you, George Mo. Connor's joining us too, just in time to hear the Shan message. Sending all of you friends all of the blessings. Until we do this again tomorrow, I look forward to seeing you soon. Say goodbye to Peppy. You got there admirable. Thank you. Ja, technisch is Engels my tweede taal. Ek is eintlik 'n Afrikaans-pratende mens. Jy weet, so ek kan terug daarop val elke keer wanneer ek 'n Engelse fout maak. En dan kan ek dit maak asof dit nie my eerste taal is nie, jy weet. Ek kan wegkom daarmee. But that's just cop out. being like, oh, it's not my first language. Actually, I'm speaking Afrikaans. Actually, you got there. Love you, friends. Thank you again for joining me, for sending all of the good vibes. Take all of these good vibes with you, and then embrace mutation, embrace conscious evolution, embrace becoming something else. Not because there's something wrong with who you are right now, but because it's inevitable. You have become something else from when you were a child, from when you were a teenager, from when you were a young adult, etc., etc. Changing is inevitable. We might as well embrace it. Grow. I love you, friends, so much. Thank you for joining me. Until we do this again. Cheers, cheers, everybody.